Because I think our country is at a moment of great crisis. Disappointed because the long-term future of our party and our country must be in the centre ground of politics. Disappointed because really the fact that Lib Dem voters or Labour voters wanted to vote for me should be something we're proud of, something we should embrace as a party. And disappointed also that in the end, perhaps some of the things I was saying, that a no-deal Brexit will be catastrophic or that you can't negotiate a new deal with Europe, probably proved to be truths that people weren't quite ready to hear. But I still think they're truths, and I'm still going to keep saying them.
I mean, that's what I was going to say to you. It doesn't seem like your party, your fellow MPs are wanting to hear that message.
No, I would conclude that they don't seem to be ready to hear that message. But I think the public wants to hear that message, and I think there's a reason for that, it is simply true. I mean, anybody looking at Europe, anyone reading the legal texts or the resolutions know that no deal is coming by October and December, and people who suggest it is are misleading themselves, I think would be the polite way of putting it. I think everyone else sees there's a gaping hole in the middle of British politics, and we don't have to try to appease the Nigel Farage hard Brexit side of our party or Jeremy Corbyn. There are a lot of people who want a sensible politics, a lot of people who don't want to follow the United States or Europe down the path of a divisive politics, and we can save that. And I think in the end I trust the British people.
Do you think at times you were too critical of people like Boris Johnson, that some in your party didn't like that attack, that so-called blue-on-blue attack?
Absolutely. One of the things that's been an issue throughout the campaign is I've tried to say that my issue with Boris is his policies, that I frequently don't know what he actually believes about anything, and I'm worried that he's going to disappoint people and let them down. I think that was an important thing to say because I believe by choosing a leader, we're actually choosing a Prime Minister. Prime Minister hopefully that we would have for 2 or 7 years. So this is the time to ask those questions, but I agree they're uncomfortable questions. People felt that they were exposing divisions within the party they weren't comfortable with. My conclusion to that, though, is that you don't unify a family or a party by pretending to agree when you disagree. You unify through honesty and trust.
Talking about unity, how could someone like Boris Johnson, it does look like he's obviously so far ahead with the support of MPs and in the grassroots of the Tory party, can he bring the party together, given that you've said you wouldn't serve under him or maybe any of the other candidates?
I wish him absolutely the best of luck in doing what he's doing. The way that he'll bring the party together, the way he'll bring the country together, is the way that any leader brings something together, with two things, with a real sense of reality, ability to look at the facts as they present themselves, and a noble vision of the future, a vision for what this country could be. And if he can deliver those two things, he will unify this country.
Have you, unlike the others, started with a cabinet job and you're going to end up not having a cabinet job because you won't serve with the others?
That's definitely true. I appear to have written my cabinet resignation letter, but I'm very proud of my department. I love it, and I'll return to work happily first thing tomorrow morning. You'll see me back in the House of Commons giving a statement on our work in Syria and Iraq against Daesh, a very important fight against terrorism. And I am so proud of this country. I began to serve my country as a young soldier when I was 19. I'm serving it now as a man of 47. It's nearly 30 years, and I've got a lot more service still to give.
Finally, have you decided who you're going to support out of the other candidates?
Absolutely not. I'm going back to my 2-year-old and 4-year-old, and I'm going to play with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rory Stewart. So, clear disappointment there for Rory Stewart, but he and his team, they do feel they've brought something different to this campaign by getting out there and talking to people beyond Westminster and beyond the Conservative Party.
Right, Vicky, thank you for that. Vicky Young there. I just want to pick up on some of the points that Rory Stewart was making there. Disappointed, obviously, but almost sorrowful, mournful that he believes that a clear path that the Conservative Party could take to bring people into the centre ground has potentially been squandered, Chris.
Yeah, I think there's something in that. I mean, effectively, the Conservative Party this evening has said to Lib Dem voters, Labour voters, floating voters, well, actually, we're not so concerned about your views and your votes, because Rory was indeed the candidate that people like that were saying they could vote for. There was a criticism all the way through that actually he was the candidate that Tories didn't like, but everyone else did. But actually, to win elections, you need to bring those people on board. So it is a bit sort of disappointing, I think, that that we've sort of turned our back on that by excluding him from this. But ultimately, I think he didn't succeed in quite framing the choice for Conservative MPs in the right way, and maybe he was at times a little too brutal on the other candidates, as he said.
Sure. Joanne, the suggestion that he's already written his cabinet resignation.
Well, I think something will be done to try and get round that, because although I have reservations about his policy platform, if you like, and I don't agree that the best way to reach out beyond the Conservative Party is effectively to say that the Conservative message is inherently wrong. I mean, that's what you let.
Was that what he was saying?
Well, I mean, it was almost getting it was almost getting to that point, I think. I mean, he was taking, if he'd taken if he'd approached yesterday's debate with the tone that we've just heard from him there, I think things might have been slightly different. But he was so personally critical, I think, of the other candidates that although undoubtedly he's brought a fantastic, sense of energy and just a different approach to the whole thing that's been very valid, and he's a superb communicator. It seems to me that you couldn't really expect the Conservative Party MPs and Conservative Party members to elect as a leader somebody whose interpretation of conservatism, let's say, is puts it on a wing.
I mean, I would say he's just a very classic conservative in that way. His whole message has been, I'm the pragmatic, realistic guy. I'm not ideological, and the party has never been
in the pack.
Exactly, and the Conservative Party has never been an ideological party. It's about pragmatism. It's about getting things done. And he's all the time been saying, look, we just have to be realistic.
And I think he's been very good on the tax side, tax and spend side of things.
Even though we've lost his candidature in this race, the question he asked all the other candidates last night and time again remains, which is on Brexit, which is the issue. There are now 4 candidates left, all of them saying they're going to renegotiate the withdrawal agreement, and he said, how are you going to do it? Tell us how you're going to do it. Not one of them can do that. So he was just being realistic.
But he didn't have a solution either.
I think that was the problem. He didn't have that panacea in his locker either. That's the thing. All right, Chris Wilkins, Joanne Nadler, it's good to have you both with us. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Okay, you're watching BBC News now. Sports Day.